Hello and thanks for joining us. This is the Signature 30 Minutes. I am Obomanu Marvelous. In the headlines, governors have promised to dedicate Excess Crude Account for security. The police command in Akwa Ibom has vowed to prosecute those who take the laws into their hands in the form of jungle justice. NAFDAC approves emergency use of Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in Nigeria. And now the details. Governors under the aegis of Nigerian Governors Forum have offered to set aside portions of the Excess Crude Account, the Natural Resource Development Fund and the Economic Stabilization Fund to providing the necessary equipment for the military and other security institutions to combat insecurity. Chairman of the NGF and Ekiti State Governor Fayemi said this while briefing the media on the outcome of an emergency meeting of the forum at the Aso Rock Villa, Abuja on Thursday. He also said that governors have also expressed interest in strengthening their judicial system so that they can accelerate access to justice for victims of crime and criminality in the country. He further noted that the forum reviewed the need to strengthen the National Livestock Transformation Plan, being their collective view that the traditional approach to grazing was no longer sustainable and that the modern approach to livestock management needs to be put in place. He added that the Governors Forum has gone ahead to provide some financial support to victims of the conflicts experienced in Oyo and Ogun states, where the delegation visited over the last week. The Jigawa State House of Assembly has passed into law a bill for the prohibition of violence against persons. Speaker of the House, Honorable Idris Garba Jahun, announced this at Wednesday's sitting. He said that the passage of the bill into law followed the adoption of the report of the House Standing Committee on Judiciary, chaired by the member representing Hadejia constituency, Honorable Abubakar Jallo. Jallo said that the law on violence against persons will be in conformation with Islamic and societal norms, as well as operating justice system and procedure. He explained that under the new law, 57 recommendations were made by the committee which will address issues of any discrimination or violence against persons in the state. He added that under the new law, anyone convicted for rape will go for life imprisonment, and those who have helped him in committing the offense will also receive a similar punishment, and the victim of rape shall be awarded compensation of not less than 500,000 naira. The case of kidnapping is death penalty, while a rape case is life imprisonment, and if the victim is infected with HIV/AIDS, then the culprit will receive a death penalty. Also, anybody who attempts to commit rape shall upon conviction be punished with imprisonment for a term of not less than 14 years and without the option of fine. According to him, the use of vulgar language and nude pictures by traditional medicine sellers is prohibited and punishable. The police command in Akwa Ibom has vowed to prosecute those who take the laws into their hands in the form of jungle justice against suspected criminals. This is contained in a statement issued by the police public relations officer in the state, Superintendent of Police Odiko MacDon, in Uyo on Thursday. MacDon said that the Commissioner of Police in the state, Andrew Amihe, recently frowned at the high rate of jungle justice by some irate mob in the state. MacDon said that the act could not guarantee fairness to a suspect and therefore should not be allowed to continue. According to him, the act of jungle justice, if not checked, might lead to the death of innocent persons and snowball into anarchy. The police public relations officer warned that henceforth all perpetrators of jungle justice would be identified, apprehended, and prosecuted. A magistrate court in Kafanchan, Kaduna State on Thursday ordered that a 66-year-old blacksmith, Mohammed Adamu, who allegedly defied a 7-year-old girl, be remanded in a correctional center. The Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps charged Adamu with defilement, contrary to the provisions of Section 254 of the Kaduna State Penal Code law. Magistrate Michael Bawa, however, did not take the plea of Adamu for absence of jurisdiction to entertain the matter. Bawa ordered that the police to return the case file to the State Director of Public Prosecution for legal advice. Earlier, the Prosecution Counsel, Mr. Marcus Audu, told the court that the matter was referred to the court by the Salama Sexual Assault Referral Center, Kafanchan, on February 16th. Audu told the court that Adamu lured the girl into his room at Brownu Street and defiled her and threatened her not to mention the incident to anyone. Adamu also told the court that he defiled the girl after being told by a man that it will make him rich. However, the matter was adjourned until March 16 for further mention. The Jigawa State Hisba Board has destroyed over 3,000 bottles of alcohol confiscated in Kazare local government. The local government commandant Malam Bello Musa Kazare disclosed this after destruction of the alcohol in Kazare. He said the move was in line with the command's efforts to checkmate immoral acts and social vices within the society. Bello said the bottles of alcohol were confiscated from bars in gathered joints at Kazare town. He said the command will not hesitate in arresting and prosecuting anybody selling or buying alcohol in the state. He said that this was the 5th exercise carried out by the officers of the command in the area to reduce the rate of social vices in the area. A bus carrying Nigerian footballers burst into flames on Thursday morning while traveling to Uyo for their Nigeria Professional Football League (NPFL) clash against Dakada FC. The bus, in which Wiki tourist players and officials were traveling, burst into flames after it lost 2 tires at Hawan Kibo, a town near Jos, Plateau State. The sad incident was confirmed by Wiki players on Twitter. The cause of the fire outbreak was not immediately ascertained. Following goalless draws against Lobby Stars and Sunshine Stars in their last 2 NPFL fixtures, Usman Abdullah's men were looking forward to ending their uninspiring form against the Akwa Ibom-based team. The Federal Character Commission's first mandate is to work out an equitable formula subject to the approval of the President for the distribution of posts in the public service as well as political appointments. The Commission has come under strong criticisms by some Nigerians who alleged that the Commission may not be living up to expectation. How well has that Commission delivered on its mandate? Signature TV correspondent Obi Chibueze was on the street to find out the opinion of Nigerians.
Everything should be done accordingly. If you are taking the youth from either Maiduguri or Katsina, you should also take the youth from Anambra, Abuja and other states that will participate in this job. People in government have an overbearing influence on the organization and government establishments. What that implies that if Mr. A from region A is in power, he is going to mobilize all the institutions of the state to favor his region and his religion. So that is the structure of the Nigerian society, and it's not even limited to Federal Character Commission alone, it's limited to all other facets of Nigerian society. And the danger it portends is that people are going to be loyal. Because it's going to breed a country that the mass majority of Nigerians will be loyal to their ethnic and religious divide.
The complaint is much because people are seeing it that there is nepotism, there is favoritism, biasness in some part of the areas. As a young Nigerian, I feel that there should be equality and there should be a kind of balancing of the system so that things can function. When you give a job to a particular region, did you consider where those people are capable, or you are showing bias and injustice because they are yours? Such things will cripple the economy.
That person where you know say then they support to do what they supposed to do, they know say they reach. They cannot help the poor people. Now the people where they reach, now they help themselves. Now politics where they do now, so they know they do the right thing.
This issue of tribalism that is going on in this country, this one want to favor his own people, the other want to favor his own people, and not minding that Nigerian is one. So this is one of the major problems we are having in this country. This issue of favoritism, I want to favor my own people, and we treat everybody the same, not minding his or her background, where he or she is coming from. And let's put aside tribalism.
The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has approved the emergency use of Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in the country. The vaccine was recently approved by the World Health Organization for emergency use. The Director General of NAFDAC, Dr. Mojisola Adeyeye, who announced this on Wednesday in Abuja, said that NAFDAC got the dossier of the vaccine a week ago, adding that the NAFDAC Safety Committee went to work immediately to evaluate its safety and efficacy for Nigerians. She explained that the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is a viral vector vaccine. Scientists used an ardent virus originally derived from pansies and modified it with the aim of training the immune system to mount a strong response against SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. Adeyeye noted that the recommendation for emergency use authorization was based on rigorous scientific considerations such as vaccine quality, vaccine safety and efficacy, dose, pack, and storage. She disclosed that NAFDAC has been preparing for the COVID-19 vaccines and vaccination since the early phase of the pandemic around April 2020 and was positioned to a great extent to work online during the lockdown due to digitalization of many of their processes and continuous improvement. The Central Bank of Nigeria in the first half ended June 2020 injected a cumulative sum of 10.31 billion to cushion demand pressures and ensure exchange rate stability in the foreign exchange market. This indicates a 21.7% increase from the 8.47 billion in the corresponding period of 2019. CBN disclosed this in its latest Financial Markets Department report for half-year 2020 January to June, released on Wednesday. Since the introduction of the investor and exporter window, the CBN has increasingly intervened in the forex market as well as an active buyer and seller. While providing insight on the intervention, CBN noted that the global COVID-19 lockdowns adversely affected oil demand and also contributed to the reduction in economic activities. In response, the bank took deliberate efforts at sustaining price stability and preserving foreign reserve levels. Breakdown of the figure shows $5.6 billion was sold at the investors and exporters foreign exchange window, 1.19 at the interbank spot, $570 million for SMEs, $312 million for Invincibles, while forward sales were $3.17 billion. And now for the stock market report. The floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange witnessed 132.4 billion naira loss on Thursday as the bears dominated the floor. There were only 10 gainers against 30 losers at the close of business. The equity capitalization fell to 21 trillion naira from 21.16 trillion naira on Wednesday, a 132.4 or 0.6% loss. As a result, the all-share index closed in red, dropping at 40,212.19 points from 40,465.32 points. This was a 0.63% reduction. The number of traded stocks, however, rose to 426.26 million from 244.2 million, a 78.99% increase. The value similarly rose by 74.55%, an increase from 2.6 billion naira Wednesday to 4.75 billion. The loss on the floor was driven by a fall in the share prices of Zenith Bank, Guaranty Trust Bank, Dangote Sugar and Access Bank, which traded high volume of shares. RT Briscoe, however, was the highest gainer, while UPL Limited led the losers chart. The equities of Zenith Bank, Guaranty Trust Bank, First Bank Holdings and Dangote Sugar were the toast of investors, trading not less than 35 million shares. On the foreign scene, police in the northern Italian city of Vicenza have arrested a 42-year-old Nigerian who recruited young Nigerian women into forced prostitution. The order to arrest the woman was issued by prosecutors in Bologna after a court sentenced her to a prison term of 8 years, 7 months and 28 days. The judges found her guilty of forcing or maintaining young women in a state of aggravated slavery and illegal immigration, investigative sources said on Tuesday, February 16th. Investigators said the woman recruited young women in Nigeria and brought them to Italy via Libya and a Mediterranean crossing. The women were then forced to work as prostitutes along the Via Emilia State Road in northern Italy near the city of Bologna. The crimes were reportedly committed between November 2014 and March 2017. Police had launched an investigation into trafficking operation after a Nigerian minor reported them to the police. The 42-year-old woman was sentenced to house arrest in July 2018 but had escaped. However, this week, following sentencing in her absence, police were able to track down the woman in Vicenza and took her to prison. Before we end the news, a recap of our major stories. Governors have promised to dedicate excess crude account for security. The police command in Akwa Ibom has vowed to prosecute those who take the laws into their hands in the form of jungle justice. NAFDAC approves emergency use of Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine in Nigeria. Please do well to stay safe, maintain physical and social distance, and wear your nose mask while going about your daily activities. That's the signature 30 minutes. On behalf of my producer, Chibueze Obi, I am Obomanu Marvelous. Thanks for watching.